Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a really great week. I feel like it's been a while since I've gotten to sit down and talk with you guys like this, so I'm really excited to share the process of the study with you. If you follow me over on Instagram or Patreon maybe, you might be aware that I've been working through some Artblock and feeling a bit burnt out, which I always like to take as a reason to do a few things: study, start a series, or just try something new, depending on what I feel like I need. So I was actually really happy when I found this class on color over on Skillshare, which inspired me to do a value study since I feel like that's a big weakness of mine. If you want to hear a bit more about how I deal with Artblock, I'll have my other video about series linked in the description so you can check it out if that's something you need. So basically, this class is amazing. It's probably the best class I've stumbled upon on Skillshare so far. It's broken up really well and it shows really clear examples of what it covers. She really shows you how to dissect art and understand how the colors work together, and then walks you through building a color palette and applying it to your own artwork. Although I only focused on my value study for this video, I've been using what I learned in this class to help me work on trying something new. I'm not quite ready to share it on here yet, but I've started working on some digital illustrations, and this class has really helped with figuring out exactly how I want to use color in a medium that I find much more difficult than painting. So I really want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video and for being a huge source of inspiration and knowledge to me, because finding this class ended up being exactly what I needed. If you're somehow unfamiliar with Skillshare, Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives with over 25,000 classes in design, business, and more. So whether you want to get inspired, grow your career, or just find new ways to get creative, Skillshare is the perfect place to learn. Premium membership is super affordable with an annual membership costing less than $10 a month, which gives you unlimited access to the classes and communities that might be just right for you. If you would like to give Skillshare a try, Skillshare is very kindly offering the first 500 of you who use the link in the description 2 full months of premium access, so you guys can learn and get inspired with the more than 7 million creators already on Skillshare for free. So before I got started on my painting, I dropped my sketch into Medibang to make a couple of thumbnails to get a better idea of how I wanted the colors to be laid out. I knew I wanted to work in gouache, using only one color and then a white, and I decided to use red instead of going with black and white to give myself even more of a challenge, since my red won't be as dark as black would. I also have my reference photo off to the side as a general reference for shadows and facial features. I'm not worrying too much about getting the color scale just right, since this is just supposed to give me a basic idea. After finishing those up, you can see the top 2 are a lot more eye-catching. I actually quite like the bottom right one, but since I'm hoping to use this as a sticker design, I know that one of the top 2 will probably read a lot better. You've seen the thumbnail for this video, so you probably already know that I chose to go with the top right one. I really love going with a dark background whenever I can. So going back to my sketchbook, I'm going to quickly go through making a value scale up at the top of the page, starting with straight crimson and adding a little bit of white at a time until I get to just straight white at the very end. I don't think this is completely necessary to do before getting started, but I always enjoy it as a way to kind of warm up a bit and get comfortable with the colors that I will have available for my study. I don't really need to do this, but I also use some general purpose masking tape to tape off the edges. And then went right into the background with the crimson color. I'm using paint right out of the tube for this instead of dried in a palette like I'm used to. And watching this back, it seems like I pretty consistently use a little bit too much water and start out a little bit too dark. So the whole process was a lot of putting color down and then needing to adjust it. I'm not going to lie, I found this study pretty difficult. I'm really glad I decided to use gouache instead of watercolors, because I probably would have had to start over a couple times. Besides all the constant adjusting, I went about this painting pretty normally. I started with marking out big blocks of color and then went in and lining all the details like the eyes, the nose, and the lips. After that, I worked on adding the basic shapes of the shadows and highlights, using both of my references pulled up on my computer for help. After I have that all laid out, I will use a bit of a stiffer brush that holds less water to start blending. I'll get it slightly damp and then use it to kind of gently smudge and blend the colors together by brushing over them. If the paint ends up getting a bit too thin on the page, I will use a watered down mid-tone to get my brush wet instead of water. This way of blending usually lowers the contrast a whole lot though, so I'm going to go back in and brighten the highlights and darken the shadows before blending again, and basically do that over and over again, tweaking and improving as I go until I'm pretty happy with the outcome. I think in total I ended up spending about an hour and a half on this guy, which is a bit longer than I would normally spend on something like this small. But I do think it was a really productive study and will help me improve my contrast in future work, which really is the whole point. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. And make sure to check out the link in the description so you can watch Ngai's class on color. I will see you soon for the next video. Bye.
Lips from